The Canadian tag is missing from key champions. The Summer of Pain boss rush. When will it drop? Mythic shard compensation. Where is it? And units and paid deals in game now cost less for some countries. Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to the Marvel Contest of Champions news show for Monday. Now make sure to hit the like button, subscribe with post notifications on all. Appreciate you very much because we've got lots of content to post this week and lots of things to go over. Also, we're going to do some thanks, and thank you so much to everybody that supports the channel as a YouTube member as well as a Patreon. You're on screen now. Appreciate you for supporting the channel, as well as those that if you've got Amazon Prime, you can give a free Twitch sub. Why don't you do that tonight as I go live doing some Marvel Contest of Champions based things? Yes! Those who give tier 1 subs, bits, donations, thank you so much, and thank you for helping support me. Now we begin the show with a bit of a reminder. We've got a lot of spicy topics to go over, but this one in particular, if you're not familiar, I do a podcast with Dan, a Frontline MCOC, which we drop hopefully once a week, but we took a 2-week break because, you know, life is busy. So yeah, we've got episode 69. Yeah, episode 69 of the podcast. So yeah, go and check it out if you want something to listen to. You know, you're doing some work, some chores, want an hour of listening to people talk about your favourite Marvel swipey mobile gamey thing, then go and check out the link in the description down below. Now, let's proper kick things off with some dissection. Now, for a lot of you that don't know, hashtag Canadian is something that's going to be relatively important down the line. For those that do the Careers Challenge, which requires you to do Labyrinth for Legends with the hashtag Canadian based champion, it is kind of important to know what is in game for you to have as an event, as an option for grind, as many players are saying here. For some reason, Kabam have not put this against champions in game, which is odd. It really is odd. You know, the plethora of champions, Deadpool, right the way through to Weapon X, all these champions here are Canadian, or fall under that banner of hashtag Canadian, especially, you know, for going up against that challenge, as we said. And that may be more relevant down the line for other content, and especially if you look at, like, back when we had the Canada Day, back a little while ago, it was kind of important to have those particular champions. So, what is the key issue? Well, the key issue is that Kabam need to add this in. I've raised this with Kabam, and I hope they do consider this, as well as many other players have requested for the same thing. So, for example, if we go to Sabretooth, for example, we go into his info, we go into his bio, you'll see organization, no tags, and this is the thing. I thought hashtag Canadian would actually be in this, especially as I said, with there being a challenge that requires you to do a fight with in Labyrinth for Legends with hashtag Canadian, which is like Canada right there. Champions tagged Canadian. Well, it's not exactly the easiest thing to find a Canadian-based champion, especially if you go to champions, you then go to filter, you then go to your tags, you then put in CANAD nothing. Not even kind of like a little bit of a part of it, because like you can put in CA even, and you got Civil War Captain America. That's helpful, but it's not hashtag Canadian. Either way, this is something that should be added in, especially as you get further down the game. You get a more expansive roster, and as well with certain things that you know, get dropped. Content, specific grinds, hashtag this, hashtag that. Also, it's good for sorting, for understanding, for things like Summer of Pain. Even though that's kind of like, okay, well, female, this, hashtag metal, blah, blah, blah. So hashtag XL. So it's like, it's good that we get that process in mind. So hopefully Kabam can add this in at a later date if you're curious to say, like, where are these things? Okay, next up, and on to the boss rush for Summer of Pain. Yeah, something that completely kind of, at the time, passed me by. I was somewhat aware of this, but somewhat not, especially because the way that it falls into the scheme of things of how many of your points you have to. Is this part of Summer of Pain, or is this part of the point scheme, or not part of the point scheme? Because that's really the thing, isn't it? If you go to your, and let's just flash up in game right here with the solo events, and we go down to Summer of Pain. Now I'm currently on 23, but I'm still within that one that I left a hashtag robot, which was the Dark Hawk fight, I can't remember what the reason. I did it last minute, and because I did it last minute, I got an additional point. That additional point is going to be removed. So I will be up to 23. So let's just say it's 23 all round, but I'll have 24 because I need to do one more kind of go at Emma Frost. So the next 4 points comes from last week, and then the following week after that, which is the 18th of August, there's going to be a boss rush, which I didn't put in key dates, so sorry about that, as I was thinking, like, does this come into this or this? And as well, like, what is going to be the reward scheme from it, because that's another thing entirely. Now, if I've lost everybody on this, just to kind of explain, shout out to Ayash for sending through this, which basically clarifies what was being discussed, which comes from a previous forum post saying, each week for 9 weeks a new fight will be featured and the previous week's fight will be removed, so don't miss the week's punishment further increasing, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. The final challenge will go live on August 18th and feature horrific highlights from the previous weeks, all leading up to a fight, there we go, all leading up to a fight that has likely haunted your dreams before. Since we're feeling charitable, that challenge will remain open for 2 whole weeks. A lot of this time you could say that does this read well or doesn't? To a degree yes, but then to a degree no. For me, like, looking at it, it's like it could be, number one, that the final challenge is the final challenge, it's the final week of Summer of Pain, or is this kind of case and that maybe there's like an extra couple of points on hand in that particular one, where there's going to be less points in the objective for the final week. Or is it reading in a case that it's, what I think is more likely is that it's reading as like it's taking all of the challenges from all of the weeks to create some kind of like weird boss rush where there's going to be a separate type of thing. Either way, it's going to be a thing. Whether or not you enjoy it or not, it's going to be completely down to you. And I don't know, I think by the end of it, I just won't care. Especially because the fact they haven't addressed any of the parry bug situation, which just, but yeah, it's a fun old time to play the game, I must admit. It's been a weird summer. It's been a summer of pain in a different type of a way. But, you know, I'm just looking forward to this to end because it's, I don't know, in my opinion, just getting a little bit boring with Summer of Pain. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks with this particular event. Okay, now on to Mythic Shard compensation. As a lot of you know, there was a problem last week when it came to these Mythic Shards. You were meant to be receiving more for the purchases you made. And these basically, Mythic is the same thing as Legendary. So it's like that kind of crystal where you have a 5-star chance and a 6-star chance. It's like, what, the 20% of getting 20% of getting a 5-star versus the 40% is that Legendary type one you get from the Black Ice Market. And as well as some various types of crystals that you get from Out and About. But they're not exactly brilliant, so it's up to you whether or not you want to take a chance with the Legendary. But the Mythic one is actually quite fun. Compensation wise, that is going to be addressed. Command Exhibit says here, hey there, the team is aware of this and we're working on getting the correct amount of shards to anyone who purchased this before the fix. We'll update once we have more news to share on the subject. So it is coming. They're not going to forget you. I wouldn't be too worried about kind of getting, what was it like 2,000 shards? Because you need a further 8,000 shards. So don't worry, it's something over many months that you're going to have to save up for, sadly and unfortunately. But Kabam will compensate you for loss of those shards. Now on to a very important story, and this is a bit of good news for a change. Good news for people that spend in the game. Do bear in mind, regardless if you're a free-to-play player or a spender in-game, the fact is games need to run and they need money. Yes, they need money to keep going. Developers get paid to make games, develop them and keep them going. For those that are quite militant and have a problem with whales, like going to Marvel Future Revolution and seeing that constantly put in the global chat. So yeah, games need both types of players, if you didn't realize already. But if you want to like just follow this story, follow on, because it's quite important. For some countries, you're going to get a reduced cost in how much these deals cost. On screen right now, this is actually back in 2014, 2015, and I think early 2016. If you followed the channel for a long time, you'll know that these deals were kind of the pricing scheme of what it was back in the day. Even things like the Summoner Sigil, which I, as of yesterday, under these new changes, bought. Because, you know, it's a little bit less than it normally is. So this is good. This is good news. And even if I was thinking of picking myself up this, it would be, you know, a lot better than it was, especially if you compare it off against like other places and the cost, because 89.99 pounds to dollars. Let's have a look at what that is currently. Is $124.93. I'm not 100% sure about like how much it would cost if I was in America, and then instead like did like a VPN to then buy it, which I know some people do that, and that's a good way to kind of like, you know, break down the cost if you're doing that particular purchase. But and also to get like, you know, it better for you, and that's fine. But yeah, this is only for certain countries. What are those countries in particular? And by the way, Apple isn't exactly the most clean cut when it comes to how much money they take from this. They actually take a lot more money than you might think from Kabam having their app on their site. So yeah, it ain't always brilliant with how much developers make, but that's another story for another day. I think DNA 3000 did a breakdown of that. So when taxes or foreign exchange rates change, we sometimes need to update the prices on the App Store in certain regions and adjust the proceeds, blah, blah, blah. In the next few days, prices of apps in app purchases, excluding auto-renewal subscriptions on App Store, will decrease in South Africa, United Kingdom, all territories that use the euro currency. Prices will increase in Georgia and Tajikistan. Sorry to Georgia then. New tax, and so Tajikistan. New value added 18. Wow, okay. Yeesh. Sorry to Tajikistan, but good news for those in South Africa, United Kingdom, and all territories that use the euro currency. So it's like all of Europe. So that's incredibly good news. Funnily enough, the same thing has happened on the Purple brand. So when I say the Purple brand, I mean the Purple live streaming site, where now it actually costs less for the paid subscriptions for certain European countries. So that's good. I think you save like £1, €1 or something. So it does mean that there are some like tax improvements, and as well some like better things to like spend when it comes to the App Store, as well as various other places online for subscription services and all. So that's really kind of good news. And now on to our final story, which is arena results and predictions for round 2. If you want to get the full results down, then make sure to follow this segment, but also turn back to Marvel True Cost later on today for the full breakdowns of the results. But let's go over the info that I've got. Shout out to the Discord, the RichTheMan Discord, especially the hashtag arena results section for giving all the info that you've given. And as well, let's go over the info as we know it to be. Now, my predictions are down below as they normally are, but let's go over some of the results, because this was very surprising. I am incredibly surprised with how much the Super Selector went for, and it's a little bit disappointing as well because it does inflate scores, and that is the disappointing side of things with these arenas, when people inflate scores just for the sake of it. Because I just don't think that some of the champions, even though they were good in that Selector, shouldn't be inflated that much with the drop that they did. But Psycho Man, first of all, 60 mil was enough for 32 position, so that would give you the 6-star. 44.7 mil, position 92, got the 6-star. And then 42.2 mil got position 100, which gave the 6-star as well. It gives you the real kind of idea of how this broke down. Which isn't too bad on my predictions. I think my predictions have actually been relatively good, except for the 6-star Super Selector, which, as I said, I am surprised that it went for 102 mil was enough for position 100. I shit thee nay. I shit thee nay on that one. 92.2 mil was enough for 121 position. I got the 5-star. 52.2 mil was enough for 173, and I got the 5-star. And then as well, we got 30.4 mil for position 504 for the 1K 6-star Shards. This is why I've gone with the predictions that I have. I think this is going to be fine for everybody. There's only one prediction I've changed, because I think that in round 2 it's going to go exactly the same. As I said, I'm super disappointed about having to do this, but yeah, unfortunately the Super Selector I do feel is going to go for 110 mil, especially based on this. Yes, you could bring that to 105 mil, but you know, you better be safe than sorry. As I said, I am kind of like disappointed that people are inflating grind scores, but unfortunately that's the state of arena, and that's the state of featured 6-star, especially because, you know, some players want those juicy champions, which does put a bit of emphasis on Kabam. At some stage, they're going to have to look into changing the way that you're able to get a 6-star from these arenas, because 100 positions is just so rubbish when you're 101, or at least putting 92.2 mil in and finding yourself getting 121 position with a 5-star. It just ain't cool. It just ain't cool. But in any case, that has been the coverage. That's been Marvel Contest of Champions News show for Monday. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. Check out some other content that's located on screen right now that comes from some previous guides and information and stuff, and maybe even the podcast. I appreciate you very much and see you very soon. Bye-bye!